All right, what's up? Randomly Ronnie Jr. Gonna talk about LEAH REMINI, actress and a polarizing person. LEAH REMINI coming to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, this BravoTV reality show. Now, some people would say reality TV is done. It needs fresh and new ideas. Well, you know what? LEAH REMINI to Beverly Hills, BravoTV. This, in my opinion, is huge. What I will say about LEAH REMINI is I think that she has got this magnetic attitude that has people watching. She's of yesteryear in terms of her long career, where she does know how to perform, but more than that, she knows how to be present. You know, starting her career so many years ago, you know, it seems like just yesterday. I mean, I'm in my 40s, so I think back. Wasn't she just on Who's the Boss? And then she got the spin-off, what was it, Models Inc., the one with Halle Berry. She was Stacey Carosi on Saved by the Bell. And, of course, King of Queens. She did movies with Jennifer Lopez. Besties with Jennifer Lopez. Also besties with Michelle Visage. You know, the great Michelle Visage over there on Paramount Plus, MTV, RuPaul Drag Race. Lucky enough, about 25 years ago, I got to work in radio with Michelle Visage. So I do remember when Michelle, because Michelle Visage and LEAH REMINI are so close, so close. And LEAH REMINI comes in for an interview. I think she came in with her sister that day. We do the interview. Michelle Visage is doing the radio show with Sinbad. Great interview. I am just so, as a new young radio intern, maybe, actually, now that I think about it, all those years ago, I'm just enthralled with this energy, LEAH REMINI's energy. She was such a real, authentic person. And of course, her persona was more so brash. She was a very brash, no nonsense kind of gal. And yet, when we got to see the interview and her connection with Michelle, there was such a warmth that I was really like, oh, this is really cool, you know? And you can have duality. A lot of times it's we got to be either we're the nicest person in the room or we're the meanest person in the room. You know, people don't give us the benefit of the doubt, within the human experience, that we have different sides. And I want to say, in my opinion, though, like I said, this was a rare occasion of getting to be around LEAH REMINI, where I was like, oh, she's got so much more to offer. Now, that was all those years ago, and Michelle Visage, LEAH REMINI have been even closer friends throughout the years. So much so that, do you remember when Wendy Williams was finishing her show on not the best circumstances, obviously, they were testing a lot of different shows. It ultimately went to Sherry Shepherd. I don't know what I think about that. But the best one, or one of the best ones, was LEAH REMINI and Michelle Visage. They did the show together. And it was at that moment that I knew we prejudge LEAH REMINI so deeply because we feel like we know that one side of her. And when she did the talk show with Michelle, I don't know if it was because at this point, I don't know what their friendship is. Maybe it goes back to the 90s. I'm not sure. Maybe the early 2000s. Again, when I got a chance to meet her in radio. Oh, and that day too, when we worked on that morning show, we also went to the pancake restaurant that I think Leah's mother owned or whatever at the time in the Valley, out there near Burbank and all that kind of stuff. It was really fun. This was exciting. And again, Michelle and LEAH have been, peas in a pod for all these years. And I remember seeing LEAH REMINI on the Wendy Williams show with Michelle, and it was as if there was another side of LEAH, or a career reinvention that was in store for LEAH REMINI. It could have just been that she was with Michelle and they just have such a fun humor together. Their timing, their witty energy based on their friendship. It could have been that, but I felt like there was this thing that was kind of trying to peek out, which is yeah, we know LEAH REMINI. We think we know her. But in that talk show, the times that they did it, they were auditioning, I guess. I was like, oh, LEAH REMINI is ready for, another act, which is funny because she did a movie with J-Lo called Second Act. Nonetheless, I always feel like there is more than meets the eye for LEAH REMINI. Just my opinion. This is just what I think. Now, where some of this gets tricky is the question of within the certain practices and certain tumultuous experiences that LEAH REMINI has overcame, And she talked about all those things, the things. She talked about all those things on, I believe it was a TLC network reality show or an A&E network reality show. And it was on the basis of her alone. It wasn't an ensemble, and it was about the topic. It was about that topic, a very difficult topic that she sort of spoke to her experience. She may have done one season. She may have done a spin-off. I'm not sure, but it was all in the vein of the particular practice that she, of course, speaks about to this day and her feelings behind that. What I'm going to say is, though reality TV is dramatic and everything, I think maybe on this show, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she'll have to mix it up a little bit, and maybe a couple of those things will come out in terms of it being compelling television, and she'll have to share with the other ladies, with Kyle, with Sutton, with Erica, with Bose, with Tracy Tutor. I'm glad Tracy Tutor's on the show. But I don't know that that's going to be, in my opinion, all that needs to be for Leah. I want that to sort of be not necessarily a footnote, because obviously that what Leah has expressed has been something, that is a lot. And I just think the show maybe gives it a little bit of coverage and then moves on to Leah Remini, this new chapter. For the longest time, she was with her husband Angelo, where I don't know what her particular dating situation is now, but I always feel like cast members at her age make sense. I don't know if she's in her early 50s. I don't know if she's close to 60s. She could be 40 for all I know, which I don't think she could be, because how am I 45? Time really is just flying. Again, the time I referred to when I got to be around her in radio, because she was visiting Michelle Visage, that was when I was in my early 20s. I'm 45, and this Virgo is getting older by the minute. You know what I mean? But I think that looking at all of that, what I think is good is just that, is that she's older, more stories to tell. And why get the same stories? Yes, you got to be polarizing for reality TV, but let's get more stories. Now, she is not a friend of roles. They get a kind of in and out. She's a main cast member, which means she's going to have to provide a lot. So I want to see it all. I want to see, life after her, her divorce. Is she, again, back in love? Is she, the aging process? We always talk about on Real Housewives of Orange County, whenever there's any commentary behind that, it's always oh, Shannon's really boring, and she is. However, one thing Shannon does so good is Shannon leans into the vulnerability that is, things didn't go the way I wanted. She got the divorce. That's unfortunate. She's got an empty nest. The kids are flourishing. All of her daughters are off in college, flourishing. And there she is, sitting there, body gains a little weight and, saggy skin. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying the aging process, it's hard for us all. Look at me. I am no, the best looking person around either. And we all struggle with that, and that is what's relatable. And now, I'm not going from Shannon Beador to Leah Remini, thinking Leah Remini has to be this goofy, I'm wearing a muumuu. I'm not saying that, but I just feel in my heart of hearts that I hope the production team leans into giving us a new side of Leah. We've seen and learned and heard of the same gal for so many years. And again, my only point of credibility of why I like Leah is because I like Michelle so much. I mean, again, I worked with radio with Michelle all those years ago, but even over the years when they would have the drag conventions, I would go work her booth and be around her, her fans or whatever. And everyone was so good to her and us in the booth. And it was always good being back around Michelle and just kind of reminiscing over the early 20s, my early 20s, and then now in my 40s and the challenges that come along with it. But she was always a stand-up, or is a stand-up gal. I would actually love to see more Michelle Visage on BravoTV. So hopefully Leah Remini could do two things. Hopefully Leah Remini could bring in a little Jennifer Lopez, because we live for the queen, J-Lo. But I hope that we could get a couple scenes with Michelle Visage and Leah Remini. But I hope that we could get a couple scenes with Leah Remini and Michelle Visage, just being girls, just being really close, exploring that friendship, whether they met in the 90s, sort of coming up. Michelle Visage was in the music group. I know this is not about Michelle, but in my opinion, it is. You know why? Because Michelle needs to be on Bravo a lot more, or, she needs to sort of be in the mix. However that will be, like I said, I worked the drag conventions, and, her husband David was there, and Lola and all these things. So, we definitely got to see, and we will be seeing, I believe, a little more Michelle up in the mix. Now, this Leah Remini connection makes it so perfect and so beautiful. And I am giving my prediction that Leah's going to be great on the show. But obviously, I don't know anything. I don't know her from a can of paint, for the most part, but you do follow people's career, and more than anything, you want to see career reinvention. None of us are one note, and we go through what we go through. We go through the tough things, but sometimes we are allowed to celebrate the uplifting and positive things. So though it is a reality show and they got to get into the weeds, they got to get messy, I get all that, and I think Leah could do that. However, I think more fun. We need more fun with Leah Remini, and this casting is so phenomenal because you got Tracy Tutor, which was recently announced, and now Leah Remini on the show. And I'm not even like a Beverly Hills Real Housewives reality TV show fan like that. I've always loved Miami. I've never missed Potomac. I've missed Jersey, but I never missed Melissa Gorga. Love Kenya Moore, Candy, She by Sheree. Appreciate Nene Leakes, but definitely really love what Portia Williams is doing. And Salt Lake City is fun. Rhode Island is fun and new. But this, to me, is the show I want to watch, because a lot of the cast members are just gals that are, and there's nothing wrong with that, gals that are got a big following, very known brand ambassador, brand deals and all that. But really, personality sometimes is lacking. Leah Remini is of the old school, and I want to see that. That's the type of person that walks in a room, lights up the room. So I think Leah Remini is going to be great on Beverly Hills. If it were me, but I've been saying this since season 1, so it will not happen, Kyle could maybe vacate the show at some point, because we've now have Rachel Zoe, Tracy Tutor, and Leah Remini. Not to mention, I love Erica Jane, Erica Girardi, and I love Bose, and I think Dorit is comically amazing, even when she's not trying to be amazing. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the show? So I say all that to say that Kyle's the only one that's not that fun. But season 1, I was like, she's the most stale in the group, and yet never have gotten rid of her. In fact, they keep keeping her. So the power that Kyle has, I guess, it goes pretty strong. However, now this works. And I will say, to be honest, though, not that anyone's asking me, no one's asking me, Kyle, in my opinion, is better now in the 20 years, The Ultimate Girls Trip, where watching that show versus a Beverly Hills show, she fits in better. Like, this is more her speed. So either way, Leah Remini is going to be great on Beverly Hills, and it's kind of a wonder where the show's going to go. Where do we want the show to go? It's going to be interesting.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.